Good morning, everyone. This is your host, Gemma Putty, bringing vibrant living conversations from North Idaho and across this region. I'm so excited to chat with entrepreneurs, creatives, and believers as we journey together to connect more deeply to ourselves, our earth, and our communities. So today, I'm talking with Emily Krosnicki, personal stylist, shopper, and organizer. I think of her like her local style-savvy Marie Kondo. Emily makes simple, personalized changes that end up impacting so many areas of her clients' lives, from career to relationships, as people blossom with their newfound confidence. So welcome, Emily. Thanks for joining me.
Emma, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So Emily, we've known each other through friends of friends, and then we've both been on this business adventures together. So how do you explain to people what you do?
Well, most people don't understand what I do. So it's a little kind of funny because they don't know what styling shopper, they think I go shopping at a grocery store for people. But mainly back in 2007, I just started talking about wanting to do something different instead of dental hygiene, which is my regular career. So I ended up deciding that I wanted to do personal shopping for people because I like to go with my friends shopping and showing them what to wear, basically. And so I didn't really realize that that's what I could do until I had friends telling me oh, I love when you go shopping with me, you should come, so I started just randomly doing that. And so it kind of morphed into this personal styling project that I really love. And so basically I go into someone's space, help them with their closet. So just kind of give it a once over at first, help them clean it out, edit and organize it, and kind of figure out what their style is. And then take them shopping and show them what they could be wearing, or just show them their true potential as far as clothing is concerned. And a lot of people don't realize their first, I think it's the first 7 seconds or something, people judge you. And so, it's that first impression of what you're wearing. Unfortunately, people, are judgers. So I love to show people their true potential in clothes.
Yeah. I love that because as I was thinking about this and you're like, well, vibrant living, is this a good topic? I'm like, this is the perfect topic because it is. We live in a world where first appearance matters and also for yourself, right? I've been talking to women, specifically women, and there's a lot of people that don't love themselves, that don't like themselves, and I think a piece of that is being able to find your true identity, how you can creatively show up in the world. And that is a part of that is what you're wearing. And there's so many choices out there though that, it's very easy, especially this year, to default to yoga pants and pull my hair back and put no makeup on.
Athleisure wear, my nemesis.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, it's exactly it. Show your best self. Why not go out and why not show everybody that you feel good about what you're wearing? Of course, I want people to be comfortable in their clothing as far as they feel confident in what they're wearing. I don't put people in clothing that they are not comfortable in. But I want to show them this is what you could look like, and you're going to feel so much better. And then just watching that transformation take place just gives me this incredible high, and it's just so much fun. So it's been really super fun to see so many people completely change me from my very eyes. And then along with this, the whole closet organizing has kind of morphed into my side business underneath that umbrella of personal styling. So a lot of people don't feel like they need the help or are too scared to ask for help as far as shopping and clothing and being kind of judged by me, essentially, and me telling them what to wear. So I've done a lot of closets in the meantime, just editing and organizing closets and kind of helping people get rid of the clothes that they're not wearing. And so that's kind of a whole nother little section of my business. My true passion is the styling part, but I really do enjoy the editing and organizing of the closet too.
So with your styling portion, I mean, my closet you probably would hate, but I'm like, I like to show up in different ways depending on how I'm feeling, right? So how do you take that approach with your clients? I mean, there's the style that we see in Style magazine, one of our favorites together, but I mean, and that's very untouchable in many ways.
Right.
How do you go about it with your clients to find something that kind of suits their personalities and their
Right. Well, it's so interesting. So like as soon as I get into the closet, and I didn't even realize this when I first started, you instantly find out like people are either like, oh, I love this sweater because the way it feels. Oh, this touch. And they'll go through their closet talking about the touch and feel of things. Or someone will say like, oh, I love purple. I mean, and then there's just like a sea of purple. Or, get all my hand-me-downs from my mom and my sister, and that's full, like their closet's full of that. Or it's interesting to see which direction people are going and how texture and color makes such a difference in their lives. But then, I always ask them like, what is your career? Like, what is your job? Where are you going? What are you, who are you around? Are you going out in public? Like, do you have to show yourself in public every single day to like, if you work at a real estate office or are you like a school teacher? I've had school teachers, I've had nursing, it's just kind of ran the gamut, but I've had actually a college student. And so she couldn't have super fancier clothes. She had to have like more, she was in Missoula and she was a college student. So she had to have a little bit crunchy, earthy, and so you sit there and you visit with them and you kind of vibe with them a little bit and see where they're coming from and if they're in school or what their jobs are and kind of go from there. And then once we kind of get that going, and then I start with the whole process of like, I just kind of Marie Kondo it in the way is I've always done this is like, I just go through each and every single item in the closet. And then you really start learning a lot about people that way too.
Yeah, I bet. Well, and I guess we should mention, because Marie Kondo we love, but for those that don't know Marie Kondo, she is an awesome Japanese lady who's written, I believe, 4 or so books on organization, and she's got a show that was on Netflix. What was it called?
Yep, on Netflix. It's Tidy Up with Marie Kondo on Netflix.
Nice. And she goes in and, I mean, the gist is if it doesn't bring you joy, get it out of your house, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Mark and I always have a thrift store box because there's always something that you're realizing in our culture. We have so much stuff, and there's so many ways to get more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And you realize that's another piece that I think is so important in this, is that all of the energy that stuff is bringing into your house, into your space, and surrounding you, it does affect your health. It straight up does, right? Like, it weighs you down.
For sure. And I've had so many people say like, well, as far as like the closet goes, when I get done organizing and stuff, people are like, oh my gosh, like this feels so much better. I feel like I have a brand new wardrobe and we didn't even go shopping. Or oh my gosh, like everyone's like a huge sigh of relief. Like there's space for where they can see everything. I've had people say like, I feel like I have a brand new wardrobe. And again, we didn't even go shopping or, so yeah, you can definitely see as far as health goes, like stress is obviously like taken at a lower level too. And then like getting ready in the morning, which can kind of be frustrating sometimes if you just don't know what to wear. I help like show you like different combinations too. If, once we get rid of all the stuff you're not wearing, here's the stuff you're left with. Let me show you how to wear this and not even have to go shopping, and stuff you haven't even thought about. Because I've had people who have said, well, I wear that sweater with those pants. Well, you can wear that sweater with that skirt and with those jeans. And, so sometimes you have to kind of force them to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I bet I can hear myself echoing.
Oh.
I bet you get a lot. I know I've been there, and especially after just recently being pregnant, clothes that you're like, well, I will fit into those again, or those. Do you see that quite a bit?
Yeah. That's probably one of my biggest, well, I hate clothes, and hate is a strong word, and I really do hate. I hate clothes that have tags on them. Kill me. I'm like, get this out of your closet. I'm like, how long you've had this? Where is this from? Like, I'm just like, just get rid of it. Like, you're not going to wear that. And then the whole, well, it doesn't fit thing kills me too. But understanding that people are, a lot of the times fluctuating with their weight, or maybe they're just currently in a weight loss phase. And so they are like 10 more pounds and I'm going to fit into these. These are my favorite pants. I get that. So I'll say, let's take them out of your closet. Let's put this in your like goal box or your goal bin. And so we have then it's in there, put away. So it's not in your every day you're looking in your closet thinking, oh, I'm still fat. Like I can't fit into my fat clothes, and so it's a instantly, again, it's a negative reinforcement of not where you're not. And so, okay, we've got these clothes, let's put them aside. And when you reach that goal, great. Then you're going to have a fun little tiny new wardrobe to bring out and put in your closet at that time. So
yeah, no, I love that.
Get them out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, you don't need to see those triggers on a daily basis.
Right.
We're trying to be our best friends and look after ourselves. And that way you don't need these things that just give you a reminder of why to beat yourself up. Like that's not helpful.
Which again comes back to why something should spark joy when you wear it, or why you should absolutely love the clothes that are in your closet, because then every time you put it on, you're going to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Sure. And so there isn't like, oh, does this look good on me? Or, you feel good in it. You look good in it. It's just a much more relaxing, more self-confident way to go about your life, really.
Yeah, definitely. No, I used to be the person that would always run around town in like yoga pants and I'm like, it's seriously been since COVID's definitely, because I am home. I've been home since March, and I realized that the energy, like just that I'm a new person when I'm like, oh, I did my hair and I showered and I'm wearing a real shirt. I'm still wearing yoga pants, but I'm wearing a real shirt. And just even that creativity piece of, for me, it was like I wasn't wearing makeup. I was wearing a little bit, and not needing the stuff to make you feel beautiful, but having that just radiate your confidence in a whole new way, right? It's, I think, being comfortable with yourself, but but not being slobby, because that brings in an energy of not greatness, slobbiness.
Yeah, it does. And I appreciate the fact, and I know athleisure wear is like this huge fashion trend right now. I get that. And, and yes, they are comfortable, and I appreciate when people work out and are, fit and want to make themselves feel better by working out, but it's like enough already. Like put some clothes on, I'm like, I'm fairly sure I already knew you worked out. I don't need to see you in your workout clothes every time I look at you,
Yes, and that's it. Like there's clothes for every event, and right. The working out event.
I know Nick is always like, if we come back from like the gym or a walk or something and we were going to go into a store, I'm like, I can't go in there. I've got my workout clothes on. He's like, every other person has their workout clothes on. You're going to be fine. And I'm just like, oh my God, like run in, run out,
Ball cap.
Mask.
Well said, yes. So I totally cut you off before. We were talking about, so once you figured out people's like personal styles and what they really like resonate towards and where they are in their life, so then do you hit the stores?
Yeah. So if they want to go shopping, yes. So if they're up for that, I I've done men and women of like all ages. I've had like my 19-year-old girl up until like 70-year-old women, basically. So it's kind of run the gamut with men and women, which I like, love it all. I was really nervous when I had my little 19-year-old girl. And like when someone's more my age, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking, but it's always, I've been so lucky. I had really great clients. But yeah, after knowing what they, as we go through their closet, I then decide like, okay, you know, like you haven't a piece of like a summer tank top in here. Like, what do you wear in the summer? Or I haven't seen a pair of white jeans, or you need a pair of slacks, or you need, you know, or, you know, you have 16 cardigans, but not one sweater. Like, so, you know, you just kind of see what they have and then discuss with them like, okay, you need this, 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 and this, and this, you know. And then most people, I'll ask them like what their style is. And a lot of people don't know what their style is, but most people end up saying classic is where they are trending towards, like that. Most people want that classic look. So then we just hit the stores, and then I always ask a budget depending on the person. And I've gone from thrift stores to Nordstrom. And most of the time, I love to go with the person the very first time to show them what they should be wearing and why. And then after that, sometimes I'll just, you know, if they say like, hey, I need a pair of black pants for this event, then I can go and shop for them. But my initial time I like to go with them into the dressing room and show them like, this is the kind of pant you should be wearing, and let me show you why. And you know, if they don't think they can wear skinny jeans, I say, well, let me just show you first an outfit, and then kind of start, you know, kind of ever so gently nudging them in the direction that I want them to see themselves, because they've never even considered it.
Yeah.
And then to start seeing that transformation take place. So it's really fun. So it all has to do with like what their job is, how much money they have, you know, so there's a lot of factors that go into play, but essentially I just kind of know the stores in my head that will work for them, and then just kind of go from there. It's really fun.
That is really fun. Oh, I love it. I always used to be obsessed with those shows, the makeover shows on, I don't even remember the channels.
TLC.
Yeah.
But not to wear.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Because it was that piece that we keep talking about, but when they see themselves, they're seeing themselves in a whole new light, and it's so powerful, right? They're like, I can conquer the world now.
It is unbelievable. I had a girl in town here, and she was just kind of in a funk for a while, and then she didn't have a large budget, and so we went to a local store, and it was a secondhand store, and to see her in the dressing room and see how much more confidence she had by the time I left from when we walked in. Right. I told Nick, my husband, I was like, if I could bottle that up and if I could bottle that up and show people, I would never stop working as a personal stylist. Like, I would be so busy doing it all day long, every single day, because just to be able to show people like that transformation. But it's hard to, I don't want to take videos of anyone while they're going through that process. I don't want to take pictures of anyone while they're going through that process, because it's pretty personal.
Right, for sure.
And so it's hard to advertise like that part of it. Right. But for me, it is like so deeply satisfying to watch them like become this whole new like confident person. It's like almost a drug for me, you know. I'm just like so happy when I get done. I'm just like, oh, it feels so good.
I bet that's it. And I think a lot of people, if they're not in a great place, it's hard to look at the world, and especially with social media, like, oh, that person lives a great life. Oh, that person, I can't have that. I couldn't attain that. But it's these little things you can, like, everybody has an opportunity to feel great in what they put on every day. And I mean, I love the thrift stores. You find an array of things from to who knows what, right? You're like, what is this tag? I have no idea where this is from. All in one store.
I know. I love it. I love the thrift stores too. I mean, why not? Why not? It's like going to the grocery outlet before you go to the regular, like,
right,
grocery store. If you want to find, why not? Why not go there and find the deal on your this big of like brie for $2.99 at the grocery store at $7.99. So it's the same thing at the thrift stores. You can get like little gems and that people are sick of, and you pick them up, and it's your new like favorite thing.
Yeah. So on the closet organizing, I'm curious, do you do specifically closets, or do you do, I'm just thinking of no one really specifically, but like people's houses that you've been into and you're like, there's stuff everywhere.
Oh my God, it's really hard. So at first, when I first started doing this, when the whole closet thing was morphing, it was just closets. Like I was like, I'm just going to stick with the clothes. Like that's where my passion is. I'm just going to do this. And so after I've done closets for different people, they've asked me like, oh, could you do my kitchen? Or, oh, could you do my pantry? So I have been asked to do that too. It hasn't really, I don't know. It's the hardest thing is getting through through that front door.
Right. Yeah.
Because people don't want you in their space. They're nervous and scared. Just like you said at the beginning of this, you said like you would hate my closet, or something to that effect. Like right, you would hate my closet, right? So like everyone feels that way. Yeah. And I hear it every single time, like, oh, like my closet is horrible, or oh, this is probably the worst you've ever seen, or oh, so there's that whole thing that happens. And so that's another challenge for me too, is like actually figuring out how I'm going to get inside, how they're going to trust me enough to let me come inside their home, go through their things, and then tell them what to keep and what to get rid of. So there is a large amount of trust there, and I appreciate everybody all my clients have been just fantastic. I've been so lucky. Every time before I go to someone's house, I get really nervous, like, oh God, I hope this isn't the one that, sets me back. Like, cause I've just been so lucky. Every single person has been really, really gracious and has let me in and has listened to me. So some fight a little bit harder than others, about getting rid of stuff. Some people just want me to come in and organize, where other people have asked like specifically, like, what do you think? Like, should I keep this? And then I'm like making people try on their clothes and stuff. But getting back to the question that you asked, yes, I have been asked to do that. And, people are always like, oh, I wish you'd do this, or, oh, I wish you'd, but it just hasn't really happened yet. I would do it because I am thoroughly like, love it. Yeah. And I do, like, I saw someone, I did like a linen closet, and a couple other closets in other bedrooms that didn't have like necessarily clothes in them. Right. And I've told people like, oh, you should give them like little ideas before as I'm like walking out the door, because I'm like, ooh, if I could get my hands on that, like I saw a client like open up a kitchen, and it was like, ooh, if I could just get into those cupboards, like I'd like make it like a little bit neater and nicer and more organized, but I could, yes, but it's kind of a hard thing. People aren't really.
Yeah,
think about like, how do you feel like if you'd instantly feel like I was coming in? It's like, it is a little bit hard to think about someone coming in and going through your space, right?
Right. But at the same time, I think realizing that you've got so much, it's that question, like, does it bring you joy? Does it bring you joy? And when you suddenly, I have things that I've gotten from like around the world and on trips and on vacations that truly bring me joy, because they remind me of all of these cool places that I've been to. But I think if there's people out there that are feeling like not great about themselves, or looking around and being like, I'm surrounded in stuff, and it's that heaviness, you are like the kindest, sweetest person. And of course, that's who you're attracting because that's the energy you're putting out into the world. So I think if I was going to bring anyone into my house to do it, it would be you because you're just so lovely. And you should take pictures of your house because look how clean and sleek it is. Like we could all aspire to Emily's house.
We're just lazy. We don't decorate very often. Nick got me that cute little fox painting from the Jeff Weir. He's a little local artist. But, so I'm like, I love my little, but yeah, we're kind of lazy with our decor. So I guess it does go with the aesthetics of cleanliness and not much going on.
Well, have you always been like, ever since like a little girl, like I'm kind of switching over to your personal story a little bit more, but have you always been like into style? Because you look like you're always so classic and so well put together. Has that always been a thing, or did you have to do some, like, was there a point in life where you're like, oh, I got to clean this up, and now you're this clean classic lady?
Oh my God. I've always loved clothes. Like my sister and I, we used to take our Barbie clothes and just annihilate them. We would cut them and sew them. And like, we always say we like hoochied our Barbie clothes because we got like really like, if it was a long dress, we're like, you know what I mean? So I always enjoyed clothing. Unfortunately, there was a very, large part of my life where you wouldn't know it because it was the style at the time. Do you remember like back in, I don't know, when I was like my college days, where it was, like kind of sloppier clothing. It was more like baggy clothes and
that's coming back.
I know. So, which is why I don't do like mom jeans. I will not have a pair of jeans that come to here, like I know what that looks like on me and I'm not going back to that. You will never see me in a pair of stirrup pants ever again, so there's certain things that, you look back and on the clothing that you wore. And of course, I always loved clothes and I was always very so specific of when I wanted something. I had to find that like exact, like when I turned 30, for instance, I wanted a Kelly green like dress. Like it was all about the Kelly, and I obsessed until I found my Kelly green dress. So I do get these little obsessions with clothes, but for the longest time, I've always been interested in clothing. And before the internet, of course, it was like magazines, like we talked about, like In Style magazine and like Lucky magazine back in the day, and so I always go through all I always felt like Vogue, and unfortunately it was just a little bit too highbrow for me, like a girl growing up in Kellogg. I'm like, I don't even understand any of this. So like when In Style and Lucky magazine came out, it was a little more approachable, and like I'm like, okay, maybe I could have something in these magazines. But I've always kind of loved it, and it's I guess that the style has morphed through the years, but overall I do love like the classic style. It's probably my favorite as well, like everybody else.
Yeah, no, that's so fun. The Barbie doll clothes, for sure. I've always been obsessed with and dressing up as a little girl, right? It's just,
oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, my style has been through some major dips, like you said. I'm like, what was I wearing?
Oh my God, when I was in kindergarten, I told my mom and dad that I had to have a fur coat.
Kindergarten, you probably look like a marshmallow.
They bought me one too. It was white and gray, and it was so cute, and I loved this fur coat.
I love that. I think that's the essence though, right? When we're that young, it's like, this is just calling to me. This is identifying who I am.
Of course, I wish I would have like gone that route instead of going through, I chose the practical route of going to dental hygiene school and doing that instead of like, fashion. I guess growing up in Kellogg, I didn't think it was something that I could probably do. I didn't know anybody that had done it. I didn't know anything about it, really. I just knew that I loved it. But, the practical side of me was like, oh, I should go to dental hygiene school. And the funny thing is like in dental hygiene, a mess is put in front of you 8 times a day, and I clean it up and people on their way. So it's kind of funny that that's what I've been doing for the last 23 years as well. So
that is, well, and especially even what you're wearing while you're doing that, right? Super fashionable.
which is probably why I want to wear real clothes when I go out and not, athleisure wears, because I've been wearing like like pajamas all day long, practically, like big gross scrubs, to where I want to put on clothes when I'm out and about and stuff. So yeah, so fashionable with my scrubs.
I think that's such a good point, in that there's that point in our life, right, when we're 18 or whatever, and it's like, okay, what are we going to do when we get big? And at that point, I did the same. Like, my undergrad is in landscape architecture, and initially I went into architecture, and then I chose like more the urban planning route, but it was because it was successful and that would make me money and I'd be seen as an architect. And don't get me wrong, I learned a lot of lessons doing that, and it's honestly created me to be the person that I am now. But at the same time, for me, I'm like, I wish I would have just gone into health and wellness. Like, I knew it back then. Some piece of me knew it. But then again, here we go, at this point in our like 30s, 40s is when I think you find that piece where you're like, this is what makes me shine. This is what makes me feel good. This is what excites me, and what that fire that I want to bring to everyone else,
Right. It's so fun, huh?
It really is.
Yeah, I know, we're lucky we have the chance to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, that story, because I mean, you were doing dental hygiene full time. And then, I mean, this business is kicked off really in the last, I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, but it was COVID, right? You quit your job, dove into your business, and then COVID, voila. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but that was okay. I mean, overall, like, dental hygiene can be really stressful, and it wasn't bringing me like the happiness that the other job obviously brought me.
Right.
So yeah, making that decision to quit the job I had been at for 19 years and go off and do my own thing in May, which, it was not, it was actually, I don't regret that decision whatsoever. But, when it came to the fact that I should now start really promoting myself and my business with the shopping and styling and organizing, I just felt like it wasn't the time. I just thought it was just bad timing, with like, we're all trying to survive here. We're all trying to not get sick and die, essentially, because we really didn't know a lot about it. No one was seeing each other. We were all in our homes, like not, getting near other people. And so I didn't want to advertise it. It was just bad timing as far as that goes. I thought it would just be a little tone deaf, like it'd just be kind of rude of me to advertise like, oh, you want to be, new style? And, oh, you want me to come into your house and organize something? It was just a little off at that time. Right. So I've just kind of started up advertising again now, but I mean, I don't really know where it's going to go as far as the pandemic, and when people get a little bit more relaxed about strangers or even friends coming into their houses. Hopefully sooner than later, if everyone does their part. But yeah, it has been a little off this last year. But I thought I'm just gonna be grateful of where I am, and I am, we're all healthy and doing well, so it's like, whatever.
Well, I think that's just so powerful. I mean, you and I met, I remember one of our first conversations, because we were so like starting these business ventures by ourselves, and it was just the energy that you get from like finding that thing that makes you really excited and passionate. We had it was such a fun conversation, because we're like, yeah, this is awesome, like this is really what makes us feel alive, which is what, of course, I'm all about. And I think with COVID now, I mean, the uncertainties are still so uncertain, and of course there's elections coming up and all that good stuff, but It feels like this year it's been like obviously a major clearing of so many things. Like everything that hasn't been working has been bubbling up to the surface in so many ways. So I think even with people in their homes, with themselves, I think it's just bringing a lot of it's painful, but it's bringing a lot of that to the surface, which I think is where you with your magic wand come in and they're like, look, I can help you organize this, I can help you feel great in your own skin and clothes. So I think there's a bright future ahead of you.
Yes, I do too. I have no doubt about it. You know, I look forward to being able to getting out there a little bit more when things calm down a little bit. It'll make me really happy, which is nice. Yeah.
Well, and then this is completely random and off topic really, but you and I have this in common too. Our experiences with local naturopaths. And I was hoping you would share your story a little bit, just of self-healing in that way of you didn't go to, oh, well, you started at Western doctors and then ended up on a different path. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah. So back in 2015, I had been sick for probably at least 3 years or so, and steadily declining with my health. Just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I had a brain fog, and I didn't realize all the stuff I had going on. I just know I was getting sicker and sicker, and kept on going to my regular doctor, and he'd try all these different things, and it just wasn't working out. And luckily I had a couple people in my life who kind of kept saying, you should go to Dr. Hunter Peterson. Have you gone to the naturopath yet? Have you gone to Hunter Peterson yet? And I hadn't. And so I was again sick in like December of 15 and was off for the holidays. And so I was just like, now or never. So I went to him and visited with him. The very first appointment was like 90 minutes. And I explained all my symptoms. And he's like, I know exactly what's wrong with you. You got chronic inflammation in your body. And he explained that chronic inflammation is the very first stage of all autoimmune diseases, which I was like, oh, scary. Yeah. And he said, I can totally help you. He also said, like, that what you have is brain fog. That's why you feel this way. What you have is leaky gut. That's why you feel like you're not nourishing your body. And he just kind of went on to explain different things to me. And so why I got it was because why I was so sick is because there's a few different things, but mainly overuse of antibiotics on my part. I was always getting sinus infections. I had I think there was like a mold problem in the office where I worked. And so I was always getting sinus infections. And then, so I was doing antibiotics all the time. So that was just stripping away all my good flora constantly. And then I was over exercising on top of it and just not giving my body rest when things were just off. And so then my body was just like, slow down, slow down, slow down, till I was so slow I literally could hardly walk. So he said, if you do what I tell you, I will, you're going to feel better. It's going to take a long time, probably 3 to 6 months before you can notice, because I had already abused my body for so long. And I was like, I'll do whatever you say. And he put me on the type O blood diet because I'm a O blood type. Right. And I was like, Eat Right for Your Blood Type is the name of the book. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I will do whatever you say. And I, for a full year, was so strict on myself. I mean, if there's one, I will give myself credit. I have a lot of will in this pod. Right. And I think because I was so sick and I'm so stubborn on top of I just decided I'm going to do this no matter what. And everyone used to say well, why can't you eat avocados? I have no idea why I can't eat avocados. I don't even care. If I don't eat avocados and I'm going to feel better, right, I don't care, so I just was super, super strict. And then slowly but surely, it just started getting better and better and better and better. And I love him. I love him so much. He has just completely saved my life. So yeah. I tell everyone about him. He's wonderful.
What is that? So what was the gist for the type O blood diet? You weren't eating gluten. You still don't eat gluten, right?
No.
What is the gist of what you were doing?
So there's just now they have an app for it. I didn't have an app at the time for it, but I had like a little book with all this things I could eat and can't eat. So, I mean, you can eat so much. There's so much food out there, but the main things, like obviously, as you are well aware, gluten is a high inflammatory food.
Right.
Cow dairy, like humans should not be eating cow dairy. You know, like we're the only species who eats another animal's milk, which is completely disgusting. But I do eat, although I do eat some sheep and goat cheese because that's on my good list. Corn, you know, corn doesn't do well for a lot of people. Nightshades, I don't do a lot. And nightshades, a lot of people don't do well in nightshades either.
Yep.
So,
like the main nightshade, right? That comes to mind, like eggplant, there's
eggplant, tomatoes, white potatoes, bell peppers of all colors. And the funny thing is before seeing the list, like I already had aversions to a lot of the foods. Like I didn't either like them or I knew my body didn't do well on them. So like the years kind of leading up to that, like I knew every time I had a pepper, my body was like, no, like this is not good. And so it was kind of funny when I looked at the list of things, I was like, oh, like that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, I could go on and on about all the foods because I've got a big filing system in my head of things I can and cannot eat, but those are the main ones. For the O types, you can basically eat meat and vegetables are your like main source, where like A's and B's are a little bit less red meat. Like they're just like more vegetarian people. And every time I meet a vegetarian person, I always ask them, like, do you know what your blood type is? Because I just want to know if they have just kind of made that natural selection to go that direction. Right. And a lot of times people have.
That is interesting, huh?
Yeah.
But I love that piece of like food healing your body though.
Yeah.
That is, you didn't have to take antibiotics. You didn't have to have some crazy surgery or like you used food to heal your body and it healed your gut. Like, yay.
Like Socrates said, you know, like food is medicine. Exactly. And I mean, like this was how many years ago he said that?
Right.
Like, so I fully believe it. Yeah. And it's frustrating to me when I meet people who are sick and, you know, they get on Humira or you know, they are not willing to just try a little bit harder to heal themselves first before they get on these bad drugs. Right. But I mean, different strokes for different folks and, you know, it's like whatever.
No, but I love your story. I mean, it's so obviously you take control over situations in your life. You're like, I can figure this out. I will do this. I will not eat any of those foods and I will stick to my diet and give myself. And then to watch our bodies want to heal, and it did. And then you can feel awesome again in your skin, like that common theme of like, this is how life should be lived, right?
Yeah. Which brings, you know, when you feel good, you can, you know, radiate more happiness, obviously. You know, when I wasn't feeling good and getting sicker and sicker, I definitely was getting depressed and sad and mad and angry. And I just was in not a very good mental state either because of that. And, you know, and then regular doctors don't know what to do. And so it's like kind of a hopeless feeling. And then to have one person, some saint, Hunter Peterson, you know, he tells me, oh, you just eat food, then this is going to make you better. Right. It just felt really, even walking out of that office that day, just really like chicken monkey off my back and made me feel so much better. And then just slowly but surely, you know, you can find like happiness again. It's like, oh, I feel good. Like I feel so good. Right. Yeah.
Because Hunter, he's right here in Coeur d'Alene, right? Isn't his office?
Coeur d'Alene Healing Arts Center. He's off of 6th and Coeur d'Alene, I think.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, right? Mm-hmm. Well, because my story was similar with healing my hormones and then being able to get pregnant after not having a period for God knows how long. And I went to see Pamela Langendorfer at Lakeside Holistic Health. Yeah. So we've got these resources right here in town too, which is, there's alternatives. And I've talked to a couple of different people and it's like, just go see them, just go feel it out. Like, I know once you walk through the door and you just feel that like, oh, this vibe is so much nicer than going anywhere else.
I heard really good things about her too.
Yeah.
About family, yeah.
She's the reason I have a baby boy. So,
So awesome.
yeah, no, it's good stuff. Oh, fun. Yay. This conversation's been so fun. What have I not asked you about? What you're doing, what you're excited about? You want to share?
I mean, I could give some little tips for people if they want to do things like in their own space, you know,
Yeah,
they don't,
awesome.
you know, because of COVID, and if they don't want a stranger in the house, just like basically just take everything out of your closet. I would literally take everything out of your closet. Clean, clean the shelves, take the vacuum to all your dust bunnies in the floor, and just go through each piece of clothing and see if you really love it, just, one by one, and put them back. And then I always have an order. Different people like different things, but I usually do like summer and spring. And if it's summer and spring, I'll have that in the closet and have your winter and fall out of your closet and swap. I like to do the swap. I don't have a lot of space in my house I don't have a humongo closet. There's been a few closets I'm like, oh, I want this closet. Like, it's so beautiful, but mine, I have a regular closet. So, so just get rid of all the stuff that you don't wear, don't love, or check all your like white shirts and see if there's pit stains, get rid of those, always make a little list of, okay, I got rid of my one cute white t-shirt. So next summer, I need to get a new white t-shirt. And think about, once you get rid of all your stuff, try to think outside the box as far as mixing, matching your outfits. I love shelf dividers. Like if you have a shelf and you want to stack your sweaters up, and they make little acrylic shelf dividers so they can stay in stacks on the shelf, which is really nice. And like Bed Bath & Beyond, I bought I think it was like for pot holder, like for a pot top, like the go on your pans, like the little, what am I trying to say here? Anyway, it's just like, or a little filing system where it's like flat and has dividers like this, and I put my clutches in that. So even though it's not for necessarily clutches, it's for like your pan tops, where you keep it organized in your kitchen. I use it to keep my clutches like organized in my closet.
Yes.
And always like look up in your closet. A lot of times there's some space above that you're not using that kills me. Like, so always use like, go vertical. Like always think about the space on top. And anyway, so just a few little hints to kind of
fabulous
kickstart your.
I'm just imagining the pile of clothes on my bed if I was to take everything out. But that's what I think I need to do, because it's like, there's stuff back there you don't even know that's there. This is not helpful.
But you did say something to me when we met for coffee. You said that when you get something, you usually, if you buy something, don't you usually get rid of something, or if you get rid of, which is so awesome. And I tell people to do that all the time. But I mean, the fact that you actually do it is really amazing, actually. I love that.
It like stress me out. It is, if I've got too many things in the closet, it's like, it stresses me out, like I don't need, like you were saying before, I don't need this as part of my morning routine, the stress of like getting in my closet. Forget that.
So just have a more relaxing morning and know that whatever you put on is going to look good and feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which then you'll look more confident.
Exactly. So Emily, where do people find you? What's the best place to go to find you?
I'm on Facebook under Emily Krosnicki, and then I have a Styled by Emily underneath that. So I have 2 pages on Facebook. And then I have my Instagram account, which is MR on Insta. And then I had a website, but I just finally kind of poo-pooed that website just because I got tired of paying for it, but you can cut that out of this podcast. But right now I don't have a website right now. So.
Okay, I'll link those on the show notes. So, I mean, social media now is more legit than anything else, it feels like. So, what you're up to. So, perfect. Yeah, well, so, in the Notion, my final question that I like to ask everyone is, living around here in North Idaho locally, who are the 3 people that inspire you to live more vibrantly, as I like to say?
Aww. Well, first of all, I mean, you're a little gem, Gemma. Um, I love that, I love seeing your recipes and your outlook on things. And I love that you're following your passion. And I love that it's more in the natural way of things. It's hard to find people who are conscious of that at all times and everything that they do in their life. And I definitely think that you show that. And so I also say
Thank
you.
you.
And then, of course, my Hunter Peterson. I'm plug, but I mean, I do love him so much. And, I just feel like he practices what he preaches. I mean, he's a very healthy man as well. Of course, my family and friends, it's always great to have them. Oh, and I love Karen Sprudy Frankovich. She was my yoga teacher for years, and she's at Garden Street Yoga. And I was going to yoga there when I very first started. Deciding to do my clothing adventure with the styling and everything, and my whole yoga community was so supportive and great at that time. This is way back in like 2007 or something, and she was just always, she's a good person, and she's a naturalist, and she understands like Ayurveda stuff, and I just really, really love her. So she's a good one too.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for joining me, Emily. This has been so fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.